Hello everyone, my name is Lewis. Welcome back to the channel. I hope you're all safe and well. Today I'm going to be talking about some of the jazz albums I've been listening to recently. I'm going to talk about each album in turn and why I would recommend them to you. So, the first album today is a 1966 release by a gentleman called Bobby Timmons, and the album is called The Soul Man. Sorry about the glare, I'll try and get rid of that. I love this album cover. I love his vest. I like his unkept beard, and I like his mad professor glasses. This is a dude I want to go out with on a Friday evening. One of two things, or possibly both, will happen. I'm going to end up in the emergency room. I'm going to end up in a jail cell, or both. But either way, it's going to be a memorable evening with Mr. Timmons if he was alive, and you know what I mean. Anyway, um, yes, this is one of the. Um, so Timmons is one of the most influential and recognizable pianists in jazz. But I've been doing a little research on him, and a lot of the writing about him is kind of unfortunate because it kind of downplays how good he is as a pianist. Sure, he's got a kind of gospel church sound to his piano playing, but that's not to say that he's not good. Um, yeah, he's not a Thelonious Monk. His style is different, but to compare the two is like comparing apples with oranges. Yeah, they're playing the same instrument, but they're not. You know, he's not trying to sound like Monk, and Monk's not trying to sound like him. So I just think it's from what I've read, it's really quite unfair, and if anything, it more seems that of the couple of reports that I've read on him and like biographies, it's kind of like the journalist had a personal beef with Mr. Timmons rather than taking his musical ability at face value, which was a real shame because from what I've heard, Mr. Timmons is really, really good. So I'm a late convert to Mr. Timmons and his work, and just like from previous episode with Kenny Drew, once I've actually heard their material, it's like, yeah, I'm all in. I think this guy's really good. He doesn't get the respect that he is perhaps due. I'm not saying he's the best pianist out there, even in jazz, but what I'm saying is he's by no means rubbish. Yeah, that would be a ridiculous statement. Um, yeah, I just like the way he plays the piano. He has a nice balance between high energy, high tempo compositions, and the way in which he plays them. But then he mixes it up with beautiful modal soul jazz tracks, which gives you an idea of the breadth of his talent. He's just not a one-trick pony type of deal. He is a talent. And this is to give you an example of how good the talent he is. Just listen to the people who else are on this album. There is a Wayne Shorter on saxophone, Ron Carter on bass. Those two alone would, you're already gone super powered already. And Jimmy Cobb on drums, and it's a Rudy Van Gelder recording. So these guys believe in him. So he can't be rubbish. He can't be. He can't be like kind of middle of the road. No, no, no. He's much better than that. So if you've never heard of Mr. Timmons or you're a late convert like me, yeah, just go out and seek more of his music. I'm certainly going to make it my mission to find some more of his albums. Um, yeah, he's just not well publicized for whatever reason. Maybe it's the label, maybe it's the artist himself in terms of body of work. I do know that his career due to an early death. He doesn't have the body of work which many other artists do, but that in itself should make it kind of easier for you to get his work, because there isn't a lot of it. So yeah, I'm going to make it a mission of mine to find more of Mr. Timmons' work, because what I've heard of it I certainly enjoy. The three tracks that I would recommend from this album are Tom Thumb, Little Wart, and Damned If I Know, which is not only a really good title for a track on an album, but it is my favourite track from this album. So yeah, give it a listen on one of the streaming sites. Certainly, yeah, I would think easier to find on CD, but if you can find it on vinyl, it's not going to be too expensive. So that's the first album for today. The second album is a 1972 release, and it's by a drummer by the name of Roy Brooks, and the album is called The Free Slave. Again, another cool album cover. Looking out into the middle distance, yeah. This guy just looks like I can play drums. Don't you worry about it. I can play it. I have a soft spot for this album. It's so damn cool. Being on a smaller imprint, it doesn't have the inbuilt audience, just like Mr. Timmons earlier, of a Blue Note or Impulse product. So it has to be good. And boy, this is good. I really do enjoy it. I do play this album quite often. I would say anybody who has a vague interest in jazz ought to take a listen to this particular album. There's a lot to get out of it. And for certain, once the band gets going, they put on an absolutely terrific performance. Yeah, I've really enjoyed this one. To accompany Mr. Roy Brooks, the following musician appears. Cecil McBee on bass, he's top stuff. George Coleman on sax. Woody Shaw on trumpet. Yeah, Woody Shaw's done work with pretty much everybody. And Hugh Lawson on piano. Now, I hadn't heard of Mr. Lawson before, but just skimming around and having a look at his career, who he's worked with, the productions that he's been part of, this dude can play piano. There's no doubt about it. I like his style as well. I'll be seeking him out as well. He's a talent. So the tracks that I will go for on this particular album are 5 for Max and Understanding. So you've noticed that I've only picked 2 tracks there. It is only a 4-track album, but those tracks are long. So give it a go. I'm certainly glad I've got it. Streaming site's not a problem. CD, yeah, you're going to be able to get it. Vinyl, you should be able to get it as well. And if you do find it on vinyl, it's not going to be that expensive. So give it a go. The third and last album for this episode is a 1966 release, and it's by the legendary Wayne Shorter, and the album is called Adam's Apple. Typical Blue Note cover. I'm not saying it's one of their better ones, but it's typical of their style. You don't even need to know anything to know that's Blue Note, pretty much. I do love Shorter's style of jazz and his sax playing. Yeah, it's just everything I've thought on entering jazz what I was going to like, and he pretty much delivers what I like in jazz. There is a noticeable circular nature to Shorter's compositions, where he introduces a rhythm, he goes off meandering on tangents, and then he circles back round to reintroduce or to conclude the rhythm that he had started in the introduction. So many of his tracks are built like that, and just because I kind of know how they're put together doesn't mean that kind of diminishes from my enjoyment. It's kind of like a Thierry Henry free kick from the left hand side. You know it's coming, but it's whether or not you can do anything about it. You know when Shaw's, what his style is, and he's going to deliver. He's going to give you the goods. There's no doubts about it. It's just like, just go along for the ride. That's what you're there for. No, yeah, the tracks of merit on this particular album, in my opinion, are 502 Blues, El Gaucho, and Chief Crazy Horse. Yeah, I really like this album, and I would recommend it to the beginner in jazz. But that's not to say it's a simplistic album. It really is like sophisticated, but it gives you a chance. It gives the person who likes jazz with a more melodical side, it's going to be to their taste, and perhaps that's the kind of corner of jazz that I'm in and I enjoy in particular. I'm willing to expose myself to the broad section of jazz, but there's certain types of jazz that I gravitate more to than others. So yeah, give this a go. If you've never heard of Mr. Shorter, he does have quite a body of work, and all of it, pretty much all of it, is fantastic. Notables on this particular album are Herbie Hancock on piano, Joe Chambers on drums, and Reginald Workman on bass. That's quite a collection of musicians to have on your album. Yeah, you're in for a treat if you've never heard this before, and I, for one, am jealous if you are going to be hearing it for the first time, because yeah, I find it to be delightful, this particular album. So strap yourselves in. So that's the final album for today. It's been an absolute pleasure going through a few albums with you. I hope you've enjoyed it too. Just stay safe in the meanwhile, stay healthy, and hopefully I will see you for the next episode. Please don't forget to subscribe, like, and share, and feel free to add comments down below. I'd like to hear your feedback. So until the next time, take care of yourselves. Bye bye.